Hi, this is Herb Halstead from GeekRev.com, and I've got a pretty good piece of software that I wanted to talk to you about today. It is the NIV Study Bible, and it's by Zondervan, and it is a really great piece of software. So I'm going to just go through that and show you right now. Let me navigate over to my Bible apps, and let me grab that. Now this is a 600 megabyte download, so it's really big. So it's going to take a long time to install on your iPhone or your iPad, but it's well worth it. It is so packed with some great stuff, and we'll get to that stuff today. As you can see, it's just very much like your normal standard reader software. You can scroll through it, you can hold down and highlight things, you can do all those kinds of things that you're used to doing in other Bible reader software. If I click this little button down here, it looks like a pen. You'll come up and you'll have a lot of different menu options up here. And the first one is just notes. You can take notes on particular Bible verse. There's also this bookmark feature, which is pretty good. And you see I've already got a bookmark in there. This is pretty cool. You remember the old days when you had a paper Bible and you actually were able to write in them? Well, this kind of gives you that same kind of functionality. It's similar to the notes idea where you have notes attached to passages, but this is a little better in that it gives you kind of a visual clue, and I'll go to one. If I click on this, for instance, it'll bring me to the passage, and you can see over here on the left, there's this little icon that looks very similar to that little menu item icon. And if I hit that, it pops open and shows me what I've written in the margin. It's a pretty cool thing. You can also do things like organize your notes and stuff into folders. Really good, powerful tools for taking notes and keeping track of how you're studying along with your Bible reading. I want to show you how easy it is to navigate Bible verses. You see, you tap down here on the passage, and you can literally just pick the book and then pick the passage and pick the verse and go right to it. Very, very easy. So I've talked about the editing, I've talked about the navigation. Now let me show you some really cool stuff. If you hit this little blue button down here, you get a little splash screen that kind of is an introduction to how to use this. It's got some little instructions on what things are and how to get to certain things and that kind of thing. Really good, simple tutorial, real quick on how to get into stuff. If you hit the introduction button, it gives you the preface that you will find in a print version of the NIV. They also have this little button, and when you go to that, it gives you kind of the introduction to the book of the Bible that you're looking at the moment. So let's go back. Let's fold this down a little bit. Let me go hit this, and let me go to say, we'll go to 2 Corinthians. Let's go into there. And when I go into there, and I hit this little button down here, this blue button, and I hit the information, you see it comes up with an introduction to the book. And if you look, it talks about the author, it talks about the audience, the date, even talks about the theme in very general terms. But then it goes and dives into each one of these things. You know, it talks about the author in depth, it talks about the date of writing and who it was written to, and the reason why it was written, with all kinds of notes or references to other verses and that kind of thing. Really handy. Even includes pictures. Sometimes I think I saw a video on one of them. It talks about the purpose of the book, and there's a couple. There's real nice. There's more pictures. There's another real structure. There's another thing down here that I really like about this, and that is the outline. If you're studying passages of the Bible, especially if you're studying to be a preacher, that kind of thing, having a really good outline of the book is really essential. And this is great. It breaks down and kind of gives you the key verses kind of thing that highlight those particular sections of the outline. And so they'll go through and outline the entire book, and it's really, really great. So let's look at another button, this little cube button. When you click that, oh man, this is where that 600 megabytes comes in. There's a section in here called Maps. And man, it has tons of maps. And let me just click on one to kind of show you a little bit about how these things look. It's going to take a couple seconds to download. This is really, really detailed maps. You can zoom in on these things really far, and it has great detail. It has a key over here to tell you how to interpret that particular map. got all kinds of maps like this, and there's tons of them in here. You can see I'm just keep scrolling through, and there's just bunches and bunches of them. Gets into the New Testament issues, just lots of great maps. But that's not it. They also have these pretty good charts. Like they have this chart here that compares all the major covenants in the Bible. Let's see, a couple others. The Hebrew calendar and selected events within their calendar. They've got, let's see, the tabernacle. This is a kind of just a graphic with some description of the tabernacle. Let's see, let's go back. All kinds of stuff you can see. I mean, there's just tons and tons of resources. If you look at my little scrolly, I'm basically barely at a third, and I've still got a bunch more of these little charts. Really, really good, but that's not it. I feel like I'm a salesperson for this software, but it's really amazing. They have images in here, so you can pop up in these images like this, and it talks about whatever the image is particularly about. But it goes in and gives you a description of what's going on there, and even Bible references that point to that, and you can zoom in and look at those pictures. Really good stuff. They have videos. Now this is really remarkable. These aren't just cutesy little video 3D flyovers of land or whatever. These videos actually go through and and describe to you. They teach you things about the Bible. Like it's a discussion of Jesus's ministry, not just a pictogram. It talks. There's a study and a talk and a discussion about Passion Week and Abraham's journeys. All those things. It's really, really good stuff. I anticipate they'll probably add more of those as the software matures. And then this is something cool too. These are interactive resources. In other words, they're kind of like you can navigate them. You can interact with it. Watch this. See how I can move around in that? I can zoom in and pan around. And not only that, but you can hit this little map here, and you can go to other places within that interactive map. Once it loads, you can zoom around and all that kind of thing. Really, really cool stuff. Even some interior shots and stuff. Just amazing, amazing stuff. I mean, I'm just floored about what they have done, what Zondervan's done to put this thing together. Great resource. Okay, let's go back and look at some other stuff. So you have those interactive things like that. Really, really cool stuff. You got some timelines. You know, I'd like to see more of those in there. I mean, there are a lot of good timelines in there. Just two of them really, but I'd like to see some other things like prophets and lineage of kings and stuff like that. Maybe they'll add those things later. And then there's some articles too. Right now there's just one, but it's basically about the synoptic gospels. Again, there's room for adding stuff to this, and just a crazy resource. Another great thing about this is it's got a topical index. If you ever use Strong's or one of those kinds of topical indexes, you can see it's just full of things you can look through. Tons of resources available. Now here's another little feature. This little booklet icon. These are your footnotes. This is also available for the iPad, and it works a lot better on the iPad because you actually you can have your text on one side of the screen and then have your notes and stuff on the other side. The software is $24.95, I believe, which relative to other iPhone software is kind of high, but relative to other study resources, it's probably not that high. You can spend a lot of money on paper resources, and paper resources don't get you anywhere near the kind of content that this has. And so, to me, this is quite a value. It's $24.95. Yeah, more expensive than most iPhone apps, but not very, in fact, pretty cheap compared to most study software. NIV Study Bible. This is Herb from Geek Rev. Thanks.